Try that again. Yes, I know it is. I just told it to record. Yeah, no, my whole computer just like turned itself off. So MA's been here cheering me on while I try to get everything back working.
The reason for this screw up on my end.
I think this meeting may be doomed.
Was it when I was talking that it went off? Because
it was something about the grant that was $500,000 and then every
Yes.
yeah.
shut down.
We lost everything.
Okay, so I think I was saying that we got the steep grant and
Right.
we were very surprised that we got it. But yet Drusilla is correct that we definitely need to coordinate the projects. We don't want to do something and then have it undone. But back to the CIP, even if there's stuff in the out years, even if the library is not requesting any capital CIP projects for 24-25 fiscal year, you should still present the 5-year plan.
Yep. Yeah, Matt and I are
still should approve that. The board still should approve that.
Yeah, so right now Matt and I are talking to figure out, because it's more dependent on his timeline than mine at this point. But yeah, it'll just be that we're going to request parking lot repaving
right
when the rest of that larger project is done.
Right. And then if anything does come out of the Bureau Veritas review, which we should have by the end of the month, by the end of October, at least a draft or preliminary report. If anything shows up in there for the library that would fall under capital projects, then we would have to include that in the CIP request as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely include CIP approvals on the November meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
And anything you can get us as backup prior to the meeting would be quite helpful.
Okay. What are you thinking in terms of, what do you mean by backup? I mean,
well, whatever we're going to be submitting, I don't want to be, I don't think it's wise to discuss it on the 13th if it's due the 15th. But at least if we've got something in our hands a week or so before the meeting, we can look at it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it would, as far as I know, it would not be anything in the next 12 months. But yes, I'll send you what I'll be looking at and whatever Matt says the timeline is for repaving, and then anything that comes out of the other report.
Yeah, and if that humidification system can be put in or tweaked or whatever needs to be done to it.
Yeah, I don't have any information on that. Donna, do you? I don't have any.
Peter, do you mean dehumidification?
Dehumidification, excuse me, yes.
So
Sorry.
Drusilla, the building committee feels that there's more work that needs to be done for dehumidification. And I think there was a proposal, but I think that it may or may not be necessary. So it probably wouldn't hurt to have a conversation with the building committee.
Okay.
But
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
You know, one of the things they're doing is running both systems that kind of counteract each other to keep the humidity down. And it's we've had again this year a tremendous amount of rain, and that lower level being below grade. It's always going to be an issue, but we haven't had any water down there, like any water in the building. And I think it's just going to be something that we deal with, but we can double check with the building committee.
Yeah, I mean, I had reached out to Richard, yeah, and he came back with, I think he reached out to you and said, is there anything? And that was the last I heard of it. So yeah, I mean, the question would be how much we're, you know, how effective would the proposal be? Is it going to be any more effective than what we have? And yeah, what exactly is the proposal?
But the
We-
key
we
is,
don't
Drusilla,
have- we don't have, as far as I know, we don't have any of the issues that we had sometimes in the past
I mean,
with
if you're down
mold.
there, it's dry.
Right. And there's
So-
there's no water coming up or through like there was for a while before we found the drainage problems. There's no mold growing anywhere. A lot of that had to do with things not being dried out properly and things being kept on the floor and kind of keeping that moisture in, not an ideal situation and letting it kind of grow where it
Mhm.
shouldn't. But we don't have that now. So
No, I mean, everything down there looks fine. And, you know, Willie gave me a tour before he retired and everything looked
Yeah.
like it was in good shape. So
yeah,
I
there
have
should
a question.
there should be a bunch of humidistats somewhere over there in the library because we bought several of them
yeah,
a few years ago. And if you could locate them and maybe disperse them through the library just to check
yeah.
humidity levels throughout the building,
I
that
mean,
would be
I can tell you it's dry in this building. That I can tell you. But
okay.
I will see if I can find them. MA has a question.
It's regarding the CIP. The exterior, the Wi-Fi, I don't know what you call it, that whole system that's being put in place, does that take more money or is that all figured in? It's just taking time.
The exterior Wi-Fi, my understanding is that
Whatever it's called.
that has funding, right, Donna?
That was through a
That's
separate, that was not through
That-
CIP.
Yeah, that's
That
not
was through a
CIP.
ARPA grant to the library.
Yeah, so that's not a CIP thing.
Okay, good.
Drusilla, when you're talking to Matt,
Mm-hmm.
ask him what the status of the lighting is on Mac's project behind the library. Because if that's not moving forward, we might want to consider getting some more lights back there at our expense versus his development's expense.
Okay, I'll ask him.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Donna, would that be a library expense or a town expense? I mean, what budget would that go under? Because that is, a town parking lot, right?
Yeah, it is, but historically, we've always ended up for the most part footing the bill through the library, which, is the town.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get some more money out of Donna.
Yep. Well,
Okay.
Donna's doing us good.
Okay.
I think Matt's plan, because the plan does improve the parking even, beyond our parking and behind, the Legion, the Flower Girl, it addresses all of that parking. So I would think that Matt's plan would include lighting.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounded from what, I mean, we've exchanged several emails and it sounds like it's a pretty comprehensive plan.
Yeah, and
Sort
he's
of
also
area.
He's also working on the RFP for the bridge, and that also includes lighting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Peter, is that satisfactory? Would you like to see the plan or something?
No, I just want to make sure, Pat, all I'm trying to do is make sure nothing falls through the crack and we have to wait another year and another year and
Yeah,
another year.
I mean,
It's all
it-
on-
it's pretty
you know.
dangerous. It can be pretty dangerous back there. I agree. Okay. I did notice something. If we're done with that, I did notice something about the reports. There's no director's report.
Yeah, I sent one out to all of you.
No, you're supposed to do it, you're supposed to be on the agenda.
Oh, did I forget that? I think because I just copied last month and there wasn't one. Because I was new on the last one.
Yeah,
I'll make sure to add that. But I don't think anything's come up since the report I sent you all.
okay, would you mind just summarizing that for the record?
Sure, if I can find it. I
I mean,
mean,
it doesn't have to be the entire.
essentially, it was a busy month of making sure that I knew where things like the bathrooms were. That was a big part of it. And meeting with various stakeholders, various community members. We're in good shape as far as the budget goes. Yeah, I think that was
Is that
much
is
of
that
it.
about it?
That was much of it.
Okay. Okay, I did get a copy of it. I just thought it would be nice to have something on the record. So next time, you might want to consider having an oral presentation also.
I made a note to add it back to the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Chairperson's report, I really don't have anything to report. I hope everybody shows up at the open house tomorrow to greet our wonderful new librarian. You now know where the bathrooms are.
I know where the bathrooms are. I can
Good.
also find things on the shelves.
So,
Today I learned how to send a book via interlibrary loan. So, it's been a very
ooh,
educational month or so.
great. Okay. Did you have any questions for the Board of Trustees or any members?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right, now that kills the reports section. Now we're moving on to old business. We have the meeting room policies and the policy review plans and the poet laureate. I'd like to amend the agenda to include a discussion of the book challenge policies. Has anyone had a chance to look at those or review those?
I put that under new business, Pat.
Did you?
Sure. Yes, I did.
Oh, okay, never mind. All right, back to meeting room policies then.
Back to that one. So my recommendation to the board is that, since the state library is requiring a reconsideration of materials and collection development policy, my recommendation would be that we only consider one policy at a time. And that we table the meeting room use policy until after we've dealt with the one that the state is requiring, like now.
That's a good idea, yeah. Then could I have a motion to table the discussion of the meeting room policies?
Oh,
So-
sure.
Oh, sure, who is that?
That was MA.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second
second.
that. Oh, sure.
Okay,
Thanks, Peter.
is there any discussion? I'm waiting for, oh, sure, no, I guess. Okay, then let's call it for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like,
Aye. Those opposed? Abstentions. Okay, the next item is the poet laureate.
I'm afraid to say anything at this point. This is no sure again. But when I wasn't able to get in, I sent all of you an email, including the application for poet laureate and the town ordinance for same. We do have to come up with another date for a general meeting for any public member interested. And I would love to hear that a couple more of you would like to be on the poet laureate committee, because Althea and Gail are both, well, I'm not going to count on that. And do we have, is Ann there that I can ask her, or is she not there tonight?
She is not here.
Okay, Emily, is Emily willing to be on the committee?
Yeah, as long as it's not too much of a time commitment, I'd be interested.
How
Okay.
many applications do we have?
Will you be there at the open house tomorrow?
Me? Yeah, I'm gonna try to be there after I get my daughter off the bus.
So maybe we could chat for 3 minutes and come up with a couple of dates or something.
Okay.
We have to get a meeting going. We have to get the applications out. And I'm hoping, I am afraid we don't have a poster that we could set up on the table tomorrow. But if the applications could be printed out and some of the ordinances, we'd have a little something to make it obvious what we're trying to do.
Okay. I'll take care of that.
Okay, great.
Sounds good.
And I can, I saw, someone had forwarded, I don't know if it was you or if it was Donna, someone had forwarded the stuff that you had shared. The application, is that something, if I print that out and share that with the English teachers at RAM, is that something I'm okay to do? Like, can people under the age of 18 apply to be poet laureate?
I think I would hold off on that until we have our next general poet laureate meeting in the library.
Okay,
Well, I mean, we can invite them to that, but I'd hold off on the application.
sure.
What does the regulation say about, is there any age limitations on that? Or is it
It-
adult?
They must be at least 18 years of age and a resident of
Okay.
Hebron for at least 1 year.
That's what I thought. So that answers that question.
Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, it'd be good, once we pick the meeting date, I could still get stuff out to the English teachers. There might be seniors who are 18 who live in Hebron. Obviously, it would be a smaller group of people, but once we have that date, I can pass the information on to relevant people.
That
And
sounds like
down
an
the line,
excellent
we should
idea.
come up with the junior poet laureate.
There you
junior
go.
Oh,
laureate.
that would be awesome. Yeah.
Once we get the senior one going.
Yes.
Yeah, but anyone over 18 in the school, there may be some people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other comments on poet laureate? No? Okay, the policy review plans. I guess that's for scheduling, Drusilla?
It was on the agenda for last month's, or so I left it there. But I mean, I would just say that my plan would be to, take one policy at a time, and starting with the collection development, because again, the state wants that like yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
And then we can look at the meeting room use one, which, the board had already started to consider. And then kind of go from there and see what we've got and what we think of it.
Okay, and
How about the review of the community room use? Wasn't that supposed to be included somewhere along here?
Yeah, so that's the meeting room policy.
which we tabled.
Yes, and
we
so
just-
that was just tabled because we've got to get,
Oh, good, that's the one that,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
so like I said, I
moved that if you tabled,
I
okay.
want to get the one the state wants first, and then we'll move on to that one. And we can, I've been playing around with a draft of the meeting room use policy. And so by the time we get one done, I should be ready for the next one.
I think we discussed having a little booklets put out for, the board booklet and the policies.
So
Yeah.
I did not go ahead and print those, partially because I knew that we had a policy under review, and I believe in not killing trees unless we have to. So once we've got one or two sort of set and reviewed, then I can print out things and include the material that the state has for trustees and so on.
Yeah, because I mean, it would be nice to have the handbook, in before us. I know we can go online and pick it up, but it'd be nice to, for me at least, to have a hard paper copy.
Yep.
I like paper.
And you like dogs.
Yeah, I do like dogs. I
Exactly.
really, it's an empty spot when you come home at night and your dog's not there. Okay, I guess next we're moving on to new business, and that's the new collection development and request for reconsideration and materials policy.
Yes, so I learned at the Eastern Connecticut Directors Roundtable that the state was requiring that all libraries have a collection development policy, and that the request for reconsideration of materials be part of that, but be a separate document. I don't ask. So I came home and came back to the library from that meeting, sort of pulled what I had just done in Massachusetts, because in some ways it's good. I had just drafted one of these.
Mm,
and sent it off to the state and was like, here's a draft. Before I show it to the board, tell me what the requirements are. Does this meet your requirements? Because there's no point in the board discussing something that doesn't meet state requirements. So the draft that I sent out to all of you has gone to the state. It incorporates their feedback. There were some things that they were very specific about. It had to be in there. You'll notice that it includes specifically separately the children's department, the teen collection, and the adult department, and that is required, even though it's very repetitive, is something that the state is requiring. So this draft kind of, like I said, fits what the state wants, takes into account the changes that I was told to make by the state. We do have a couple of other suggested alterations to that draft. One of which is under the heading selection guidelines. I have the suggestion that it says no book or library material shall be excluded because of race, nationality, or political or social views. And the addition would be, or for any other reason covered under Chapter 814C of the Connecticut General Statutes, which covers all of the things that the state says you can't discriminate because of. And it's a quite exhaustive list. So rather than list everything, it's just put that in there, and that kind of covers us.
Yeah, the only suggestion I would have would be any protected group listed under that particular chapter.
Okay. So no book or library material shall. Yeah, I'm not sure how to, so the phrasing of excluded because of,
would be membership in any protected group.
the political or social or for any other. Okay, so it would be no book or library material shall be excluded because of race, nationality, political or social views of the author.
Or membership in any protected group under
any-
Chapter 814C.
Okay, protected group covered under Chapter 814C of the Connecticut General Statutes. Okay.
Which also you're protected in, if you want to wear, all hairstyles are protected under
Yep.
the chapter, and head coverings, of course. So there's quite a list.
Yeah, it was pretty extensive, and we would have had a 30-page policy if I tried to list them all. The other, and this is coming from Pat, so the state library requires that it be made clear in the policy that the director is making any decisions about materials in response to challenges, but that the board has the ultimate authority because they're the ones who set the policy that the director is abiding by. If that makes sense.
okay.
So when I talked to Pat earlier, she suggested that so this is still in the collection development policy, but under the heading reconsideration of library materials. And it currently, the first paragraph says that requests will be reviewed by the director, who'll make a decision based upon the policy set by the Board of Trustees, blah, blah. Pat suggests adding another paragraph that says, if the patron is not satisfied with the library director's response, the matter will be referred to the Board of Trustees for review. The review of the Board of Trustees will not be de novo, but will be limited to the consideration of whether the library director's decision was arbitrary and capricious or clearly erroneous in light of the collection development policy. The Board of Trustees will send a written response to the patron. The decision of the Board of Trustees is final. Which as a director, I appreciate because that gives me a little more backing that, if somebody objects to what I say, there's a sort of an appeal process, but the board won't overturn my decision except to say, did she lose her mind and go off the deep end when she made this consideration?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because we shouldn't be my thought was we shouldn't be second guessing her policy decisions.
Right.
And that our review would basically be, did she go off the deep end?
Right.
But yeah, so those are the only two changes that I have to the draft as already sent. And both of those would still satisfy the state's requirements and their requirement for wording.
I had a question. We had a period of time for you to respond to the patron, correct?
Yes.
So we have a period of time for the appellate process.
So I had put 45 days for my consideration. I
So
don't
we
know.
have to, we'll have to have a meeting or something.
Yeah, so I don't know. Do you want to say the Board of Trustees will send a written response to the patron within 45 days?
What do you think, Donna? Would it be better to say after the next certain number of days after the next meeting?
I think if we're going to have an appeals process, then the library director has 45 days to give her decision.
Mm-hmm.
Then the complainant or the person who's asking for this, there should be a time limit for them
To
to
appeal.
submit to make
Yeah,
their
yeah.
appeal.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's 10 days or whatever. And then once that appeal is received, then the Board of Trustees has X number of days. So I think we have to lay out that process.
So if we say, if the patron's not satisfied with the library director's response, the matter, the patron can request referral to the Board of Trustees for review
Within
within 2 weeks or whatever.
10 days, 10
Right,
business days.
like 10
which is
business
2 weeks.
days. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just 2 weeks anyway.
What is the reason for the first, why is it 45 days?
That's just sort of standard. That's what most
Okay.
of the other policies were. And it seemed like, I mean, I would make a decision, I'm assuming, within less time, but I mean, I suppose if somebody challenged War and Peace, I'd need the time to read it before I made a decision. So I think the 45, that just seems to be what most libraries are going.
Okay.
Like I said, I think it's because that allows time to actually read or watch the item in question, and you never know how long that's going to be.
Okay.
My thought is to lengthen the period so people lose their passion. Seriously, so things cool down.
Kind of like a cold shower.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you're like, or like
But-
boredom.
But like I
Yeah.
said, that seems to be the standard for most libraries here and in Massachusetts. So I
Okay.
just
And New
kinda wanted
Jersey, yeah.
It seemed like a good number to me.
Yeah, and so they have to submit the appeal within 10
Business days is what
days.
I have.
And then our period of time should be at least enough so we can have a meeting. Correct?
So, and that that's another 45 days.
I was gonna say.
I think that's valid. Yeah, I think that's valid because, we meet approximately once a month. And so that gives enough time to give notice and have the next meeting occur and all that.
Right.
So if I say.
And these things take time.
And we have to read the book
You'll
too.
have to
We
read
do,
it too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because
Right.
well, yeah, I mean, if we're deciding whether or not you acted,
Yeah, if I lost my
appropriately.
mind, you need to be able to, yeah. So if
Yeah.
I see the Board of Trustees will send a written response to the patron within 45 days of the review request.
Right.
And then the decision of the Board of Trustees is final.
Yes.
Okay.
So we end up with
Yeah.
10 copies of the book.
Yeah, exactly. Unless we
whole
already
nother
have it on our shelves. Now, so we'll need a form for the appellate application.
I mean, I would say that it would just be, here's my original request for review.
Can you just put it on the form?
Yeah, so there's I can add something to request for reconsideration. Well, because I'm gonna send them a letter or something that says.
Yeah, you should have something in that they can fill out so they can request an
Okay.
appeal.
I can add something to this that just after action taken by the library that says, request for review by library board.
And I don't see any reason for us as a board to ask any more questions than is already on the form, because it will be fairly comprehensive.
Yeah, I mean, I put, everything that sort of comes, so the request for reconsideration form, the draft that I did comes from sort of the collective wisdom of other directors.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to review it?
Yep.
Okay, and everyone understands what the amendments she is proposing are tonight? Okay,
So I do have a question on the collection development policy. Is this a brand new policy or is it amending our current collection development policy?
This is essentially brand new.
yeah,
It completely, like, the
Mhm.
existing collection development policy was like, yeah, we buy books. So this is essentially completely wiping out and includes, you know, the criteria for selection and things that the other one didn't.
yeah,
And
which
includes,
intentionally did not.
you know, parental responsibility and all of that kind of thing.
I mean, it's beyond an amendment, it's actually superseding.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more than just amending this one.
And it's, I mean, it is something we could possibly adopt tonight. Correct?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, unless somebody else wants to have more time to review it more, or to see it with the amendments in it before you make a decision.
I say we move forward and adopt it with the amendments.
Oh, is that a motion, Peter?
So move, Madam Chair.
Okay,
And
thank
I'll
you.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any discussion? Did anyone have any questions about the amended language or any of the existing language? No, okay. Hearing no discussion, shall we have a vote with all persons in favor saying aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, I guess there you go, Drusilla, your first
Yay.
policy. Congratulations.
So
Is
it's
MA, is MA still out there?
yeah, she's here. I don't know if she's
Okay.
awake, but she's still here.
Did she
Okay,
vote?
'cause
I'm sitting here very quietly.
I just want to, I just want to make sure we still have a quorum when we take votes.
Yep, she's here.
And
Okay,
Emma,
good.
did you vote, by the way?
Did you vote, MA?
Yes,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought I heard you.
Okay, just want to make sure that was on the record because I couldn't hear.
Yeah,
Okay. Is there anything else that we need to consider in that new business category, Drusilla?
I don't believe so.
Okay, excellent, good job. All right, the next item is strategic plan committees. Do we have any strategic plan committee reports? Updates?
as far as.
MA's been doing this stuff with the poet laureate for Integral.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
there
that's,
okay, anything from oversight? Welcoming? Is welcoming part of having the open house tomorrow? No, I'm kidding.
probably not.
Okay. Integral, you said that is the poet laureate. Is there anything else that's a report for that committee? No? Anyone?
Maureen, it's anything that we bring into the library. It could be Halloween, it could be dirt. What,
I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah, so MA just said that integral was anything we bring into the library, so poet laureate is, I think, the current topic at hand, and we're working on that one.
Okay.
And I
any-
can say also, just like I know that the library wasn't able to get enough student volunteers to do the thing for the Harvest Moon Festival, which I was so sad because it was humongous last year and they had a ton
Yeah.
of volunteers, but I think there was a big group of kids that had always been involved who graduated. And the kids who are currently in high school we're still dealing with kind of like some of the COVID after effects. Like they were largely not involved with things when they were in like those critical middle school 9th and 10th grade years. So now that they're juniors and seniors, they're like, I don't do things.
So we're hoping, a number of them said that they were gonna like reach out to their friends for next year and try to do it. But
yeah.
I understand like 18 kids in the previous years, and we've had 3 or 4.
Right.
Not even close to enough. It's just a huge difference.
Yeah. So something that I would like to do as part of the integral thing is, especially because I just joined the Board of Trustees in February, but I mean, like, I still feel like I'm new enough. I want to kind of try and beef up some of the communication between library things and getting messages out to high school kids, whether that's like getting more flyers in our publications, or I can be like a middleman with the English department, because we tend to know which of the kids would be more likely to be like, oh, hey, volunteer with the library, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
we could call you the liaison if you would
The
like.
liaison, yes, thank you.
And Zoom, just so you all know, Zoom just decided to tell me that I only have 5 minutes remaining in this meeting, so I don't know what's going on with Zoom because
Yeah, you kicked me out.
Yeah,
Oh, you know what?
kick me out, too.
The notice that I got last time said your free meeting has ended. So I don't know if whatever link you're using,
Wait
if
a
the
minute.
library, if
We
the
paid for
library's not,
that.
Yeah, I know
Yes.
we pay for that, so I don't know what Zoom is doing, but just so you know, it's
Yeah.
going to kick us out.
Okay,
shortly.
okay.
Any more reports? We just had a volunteer to have a liaison to reach out for
Mhm.
library volunteers. How about safe? We already discussed the lights.
Yeah.
Okay. And evolving. I guess that's no more discussion on that. Hearing that, I think we're completed the agenda, so we could have a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
So yeah.
Moving that one.
Okay, and do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, could we call it to a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? I believe we are now adjourned. You can stop recording.
Hang on.